everyone. Today is an esteemed day for the CSEA Local 14 podcast. I'm your host, Jackie Evans Jr., and I'm sitting today with the esteemed Terrence Melvin, probably one of the most influential people in union work. He is the president of the Coalition of Black Trade Unions, one of the best organizations on the planet. He is also the treasurer statewide of New York State's AFL-CIO. Welcome, Mr. Melvin. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's great to be here with you, Jackie.
Thank you so much. Hey, let's jump right into it. One of the things I want to know is, what's CBTU, its importance, and why is it important we support this organization? Because I've always seen you guys do great work, but I'd love to get it from somebody who's been there almost since the beginning, and you're even still young as ever, but let's talk about that.
Yeah, well, I think if we're going to talk about that, we need to talk about why CBTU was established to begin with. Back in '72, what was happening is there was a Nixon-McGovern race for president of the United States.
Okay.
And the union movement as a whole, the AFL-CIO, had refused to take a position in the race.
Okay.
And black folks in the movement said, hey, Nixon been pissing on us, excuse my language,
Not talking.
for a whole 4 years, and now you're going to say you can't support somebody against him that's running for president. So what happened was a group of 5 black labor leaders got together and put out a call for black labor to come together to have a conversation about this, about why our money was going into the movement,
100%.
Our dues was going in there, and yet our movement was not being responsive to the needs of us, black folks in the movement, or our community, right? So they came together in 1972, and they had this group. They thought maybe 200 people would show up. Over 1,800 people showed up. They had a great dialogue, great discussion, and that's when they created the Coalition of Black Trade Unions. And the purpose of it was to make sure that black folks could move up within the labor movement, number one,
Yeah,
to give the tools that they need to move up, train them how to run meetings, train them how to run committees, train them how to set up a local union. So that when they won the election, and then train them how to run elections. So when they won the elections and they were elected, they knew how to do their job.
Absolutely.
And then the other call was that we would be the connection between labor and the black community. We would bring labor issues to the black community's table, and we would bring the black community's issues to labor table to make the connection there between the black community and labor itself. The other thing we were very interested in back then and even today, making sure the education system is fair and open to black people and black children. Because if you take away education, you take away the soul of a person.
Absolutely.
So we want to make sure that our people got quality public education where they were. So those were the tenets of where we started and where we come from. So you look at what's going on today.
Yeah.
What's important? We have got a rogue person in the White House.
You put that beautifully good. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'm going to have to steal that from now on. Rogue. Let's go with that, because I've been calling some other choice words.
Yeah, there's other words that I use, but I'm trying to be,
Thank you.
So we've got him in the White House,
Yeah.
right? And he has set out, from the day he walked in, his whole thing started out with DEI. And I want you to understand that ain't nothing wrong with DEI, but when he says DEI, he means BLACK. So when he says he's trying to get rid of DEI, he's trying to get rid of black people. When you look at what's happened since he went into office, over 300,000 black women have been unemployed, because when you look at the federal workforce, it's predominantly black, predominantly women. And why is that? Because they didn't pay much money. They have decent benefits, but the federal government didn't pay a lot of money. We could not get jobs. Our parents could not get jobs. So they went to the federal government, just like state government, the same thing.
Right.
They go to government jobs. So he went after particularly those areas that had high density of black workers and took them out, laid them off. And even right now, we're going through this whole shutdown. This shutdown is against us. And we've got to understand that as a people. This ain't just labor in general, but this is going after black folks in particular. And that is why CBTU is so important right now. We have to make the connection on a daily basis to our community, not just black union members, but black people in general. What is the connection between the policies that are being put out, how they're affecting you, and who are approving these policies and putting these policies out?
Got you. I mean, there was a lot there, and a couple of key points I want to just come back to and ask you right quick is, do you find there's any trouble connecting with the black community in these things? Because A big stigma is, and it's really big in black communities, is that our votes don't count. And that's why a lot of people don't go to vote. They don't even know something as simple as who's your council person, who's your state senator, who's your elected representatives, that the people vote for these policies are not even opposing them, to the point of, nah, let it go, to the point where the big crappy bill that came out and a bunch of people of color came and was like, yeah, he said no taxes or overtime, until you actually looked at that bill and went, yeah, that don't do nothing for you.
Absolutely.
So do you see any challenges connecting on that level? Because I think not only as black people being connected on it, even as labor leaders connected with any labor part of it, is just a divide. When you the use, it's like a turnoff. You mentioned politics and it's like ears turned off. From your side of it, do you see any challenges facing that?
Oh, there's definitely challenges, and you have to look at where this started. This started over the last 2 or 3 decades when they took civics out of the classroom.
Right.
They used to teach people how a bill becomes a law, what the different parts of government does, what your role was as a citizen, what you should be doing. They took all that out of the classroom. So now people are literally flying by the seats of their pants,
Absolutely.
right? And you have people like the person in the White House and his sycophants, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That are out there spinning lies. And the truth is, if you tell a lie long enough, people start believing it. Right? And they spin these lies, and in the last election, there was all kind of lies on the internet that these young people who don't look at the news that we look at, they don't turn on the TV, they just pick up their phone.
Everything.
And what goes across their screen, that's what they see. So what he was doing, and you got to give him credit for this, right, during the election. You got to give him credit. They went in there and saturated the airwaves with their propaganda. And people who did not know started believing them, particularly the young folks.
Yeah.
They put out stuff like, you don't need to vote. Nothing's going to happen whether you vote or not. So they start believing this. But we're in the process now with CBTU and some of our allies where we've gotten together and we're actually going into the black community. We're actually doing focus groups in the black community. We're actually doing surveys in the black community, particularly with the young folks, to see not only what they need to hear, but how they need to hear it. What mode do they need to hear it from? Is it through the internet? Is it through their phones? What is it? What method do we need to use to get to them, to get the message to them? And then the other thing is, how do we meet them where they are?
Yes.
To bring them where they need to be.
Okay.
Right?
Absolutely.
So we're in the process of working that out now, where we can, and like I said, we've got like 10 other allies that's working with us. It ain't a cheap thing to do, but this is the first time, this is the first time that black folks in black groups have come together to really ourselves delve into our community, to meet them where they are, right? To find out, rather than sitting at the table, which is what we normally do, in Washington or Albany, New York, we'll sit at the table, we get 5 black folks around the table and say, okay, this is the message for black people. No. There's a different message for each age group. There's a different way to meet each age group. And that's what we have to figure out. And that's what we're in the process of doing now, so that we can share that information with our other allies. And we're all speaking the same language, coming from the same way, and they're hearing the same thing. Repetition will get them to understand.
Got you. I mean, that's amazing to hear that you approach it like that, because I think at the local level, for me, the way I approach it is, I went to a class recently and they were talking about AI. AI is the future, the generation, the wave. And I said, I hear you guys, but you put up a really important slide that I don't think you knew how important it was. They put up a slide that was the generational gap. Baby boomers, millennials, Gen X. And I said, well, the way you communicate to those each generation is important, because that's how they see. You can't communicate the way you communicate to a millennial or Generation X the same way you to a baby boomer. That's not how they communicate. Absolutely. Yeah, they might have a smartphone now, but it's just a phone to them. Mm-hmm. They only use maybe 1 or 2 functions. They get mad when something else pops up. So what we try to do is we're trying to hit them where they're at. We're trying to go to where they're at and what communicates easy for them. Like, we just can't get rid of print media. We have to keep doing it. But again, those early ages, they're on their phones all the time. You asked me to get on TikTok, I still haven't got there.
Right.
We just got our local on Instagram, because that's another way the young kids communicate. And especially with something as simple as tier 6 for the retirements, that's where they're at. We have so many members in it of a low age. It's like, how do we get to them? Because they're the ones affected by the retirement tier. They're the ones who need to speak up about it, be on point about it. But if they're not hearing it, and I say to you, hey, did you see the workforce? Did you see that newspaper, that leaflet? What's a leaflet? What's a workforce? It's like, wait, hold on.
Absolutely. They're not looking at that.
They're not looking at that
Right.
way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's amazing to hear. So, your other title is AFL-CIO statewide treasurer. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, in that role, it's the second highest office for labor in the state of New York. And my main focus in that role is to look out for the finances
Okay.
of it's the Secretary Treasurer. So I look out for the finances.
My apologies, Secretary Treasurer.
That's fine. I look out for the finances of the AFL-CIO to make sure we have the right resources to be able to put out the program that we want to put out in the state of New York. And the main role is legislation, politics, bringing the affiliates together to work on like programs. Like when we did doing Tier 6, we will be coordinating a lot of that work on Tier 6 with all the affiliates so that it's not just a public sector issue, but it's a private sector issue, it's a service sector issue, it is a labor issue.
Right.
So that is our job as the state Fed to bring all that together. Also, one of the first things I did when I came in the very first year was put together a community outreach department. And what that department does is connect labor with the community, very similar to the work we do at CBTU. But it connects labor with the community in the different geographic areas, bringing labor together, community leaders together, faith-based leaders together to look at our issues. And it has to be a two-way street, right?
Absolutely.
We bring our issues to the table and they bring their issues to the table, and we show how we're all working on the same thing.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's amazing to hear. You know, I always love to learn, and I'm learning so much from this talk with you, Mr. Melvin. It's like, oh man, I could keep you here all day, but no, I'm just thankful for the time that you gave us. So my last question would be, moving forward, what more as local leaders can we do to support both movements? Because we may do what we're required to, but you can always do a little bit more. So what would be something you'd like to see at the local level us get more engaged in, whether it's CBTU engagement, AFL-CIO engagement, or just labor engagement as a whole? What helps us get to that next step? Because we might solve problems today, but tomorrow we'll have 5 more.
Right.
And people get discouraged, and I think the biggest thing is not only as local leaders, we need to stay encouraged in what we do, but we also need to know that there's a pathway to get to where we want to go.
Well, my theory is many hands make light work. Okay. And the battles that we have today and the battles that we're going to have going forward, we need more soldiers in the Army. So what I would say that the best thing that the local can do is to get the members more engaged in their own fight. They have to understand that the union is not an insurance company that's there to bail them out when they get in trouble. Right. A union is there to look at their whole life and to be a part of their whole life and to make sure grandmama got insurance that she needs, or grandmama got health care that she needs, and grandma got food that she could put on the table. That's our role. And we have to, as unionists, we have to be clearly define that to our members and be open to our members to let them know that we're a wraparound union. We believe in the whole member, not just when they come to work and leave and go home. So if we make that connection, we can get them more involved in the work that we're doing, which then, yes, we have work that the local union is doing or the statewide union is doing that we could put people on that track. We've got work that the CBTU is leading that we could put people on that track. But the most important thing is we're going to have to get this messaging that we're going to be doing, particularly over the next 10 months, out to our community. Absolutely. So we've got to engage and give the information to our members and task them. When they go to the beauty shop, tell somebody. When they go to the barbershop, tell somebody. When they go to the church or the mosque or the temple that they go to worship, tell somebody, spread the word. And many hands, as I said, make light work. If we can get that message out to our members and get our members working in their own ecosystem wherever they are, that's the way we move the message. That's the way we get more people involved. That's the way we get these younger people to understand that it's important that they go out and vote, and they have a reason to go vote. If they can't find a reason for themselves, they might find a reason for their grandmama or their granddaddy or their mama or their daddy, but we've got to make the connection that there is a reason for them to vote, and there are things at stake in the elections that are coming up, and we've got to stop looking at each election as the last election. Right. We have elections in this country every year. Every 2 years, every year we have an election somewhere. On the odd years, there's local elections. On the even years, there's national elections or state elections. So we've got to engage them and let them know. Don't just elect people to office, but they've got to go check on them folks, right? I asked you, you said you were going to do A, B, and C. What have you done on those 3 things that you told me you was going to do? We've got to hold them accountable because that's what we've gotten away from. This can't be a party thing. that we're doing. It can't be just D because they got a D behind their name, we're going to support them, or because they got an R, we're not.
Right.
We've got to put our issues on the table, and we've got to hold politicians accountable. And that's how we make the change and the shift in the paradigm in our community. When they see it happen after one cycle and people are being held accountable, then they will come on board more than they're coming on board now.
Absolutely. All right, I got to ask one more question because it just hit me right now, and I just want to get your opinion on it. I've been saying for a while now, and it's just a lot of people starting to agree with me because they see how it's going, but living in New York City, and it's starting to spread out like a virus to entire New York State. Housing cost is just astronomically high, and it just keeps going up. My reference to it is simply this. For us in New York City, the way everything is going, they're turning our beloved city that a lot of us grew up in, we've honed ourselves and we learned so much, into a metropolis. And to the sense, what I mean is, what they're saying to us quietly is, you can work here, but you can't live here. And for us, it's like the neighborhoods we grew up in, the gentrification and all those things. But what I say to my people is, how involved are you? And how important it is to be involved, especially to the landscape. What we just talked about, segueing from the last question of being involved, everything we're doing, into knowing your council people, voting in every off election, is it when it comes to a situation like that? Because we've been complaining about this for at least the last 5 years. We got to do better. And if we're not paying attention to these elections, like, how important is it in that aspect to get this even remotely addressed? Because I've sat down with local leaders. I've sat down because I'm a member of the Region Political Action Committee. And every time we ask them, I get a political answer. And it's like, I got to say right after, that was a really nice speech, but you didn't answer my question.
Right.
Like, we're all struggling, and all you're doing is watching the divide of, this is the cost of living, which needs to be recalculated because they try to tie everything into cost of living, but income is doing this. It's not manageable. What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. I mean, I think the issue of gentrification is going on all across the nation,
Okay.
in large cities. But we have to look in the mirror, right? Because gentrification can only happen if we allow it to happen.
100%.
Right? We sold, take New York, take Harlem. I mean, we sold all those, the black folks, sold all them brownstones for pennies on the dollar.
And look at what they're going for
Right?
now.
And now they're going for millions. If they got 50,000, that was a lot. Now they're going for millions. The same brownstone. They put some paint on it. They fixed up a little. These is like $2 million now.
Yeah, easy.
Right? But we allowed that to happen. We did not have the foresight to say, if I just invest a little in this, it's going to go up and I can stay put. Very similar. I see the same thing in Buffalo, where I'm from. Black folks used to own all the corner stores. We sold them all to Arabians. And then we complain that we don't own anything.
Right.
We sold them.
We had them
Right?
first.
We had them, right? Just like we have the area that we're talking about. We're giving it up. When it comes to the renting costs, we've got to get a coalition together to go to all those politicians in city council and say, look, we're putting all y'all on notice. I don't care if you're D or you're R or you're independent. We need this to stop. And we all gonna hold you accountable. And if you don't fix it, somebody else gonna come behind you to fix it because we're gonna help them get there.
Absolutely.
And that's what we have to build the coalitions. And that's what this is all about. Unions coming together, with community groups coming together, with faith-based groups coming together on one agenda and moving that agenda. And if all three of those groups come together, I guarantee you they'll back off.
I hear that. Mr. Melvin, thank you so much for sitting down with me. This has been an amazing conversation. We're going to end it on a light note, though. One important question. You said you're from Buffalo, so the question is, are you a Buffalo Bills fan?
Well, let's be clear. I'm also the Secretary-Treasurer of New York State AFL-CIO, and I happen to know for a fact that the only NFL team that pays AFL-CIO per cap to New York State AFL-CIO is the Buffalo Bills. Now, those other two teams that's outside of New York City, that reside in New Jersey, y'all need to be getting some tax write-off because they're using y'all name illegally. Those are the New Jersey Jets and the New Jersey Giants.
Gotcha.
So I am 100% born and raised Bills fan, and not only because I was born and raised here, because it is the only New York State team.
All right, you got that one. So now I'm gonna let you have that one because you gave me the math on it. But the last one is this. I guess I got to ask, as we went with football. So they both reside in New York, Knicks and Nets.
I don't get into that too much. I'm a football.
Football guy? You speaking
yeah,
to my heart.
yeah.
Mr. Melvin, thank you so much for everything.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
This is Jackie Evans Jr., local CSEA 14 podcast. We thank y'all as always. Like, subscribe, comment. We'll see you next time.